And we will make America great again. Thank you, Arizona. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
In the far distant land of common sense, a place where we all once lived, you'll find the Conservative College with Professor Toto. It is here where the foundational principles of our great republic are still taught and true patriots are still educated in the hallowed halls of this school of hope. Just like the iconic puppy from The Wizard of Oz, who found great joy in pulling back the curtain on the lies of the wizard, so does Professor Toto. Grab your seats and welcome to the Conservative College. Class begins now.
Hello, 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 America. Hello, that's the bell of liberty. It's ringing loud and clear. Get in here. Hello, wake up, world. If you were getting lazy and complacent in fighting for this great republic, that is your wake-up call. And you are now inside the sacred halls of the Conservative College, the last safe place left in the world for people like you. Hello, I am going to be your professor tonight. I am your humble, neighborhood, friendly, fluffy professor, Professor Toto. And they call me Toto because, just like that little dog Toto in The Wizard of Oz that pulled back the curtain on all the lies of the wizard, that's what we do every Tuesday and Thursday night, 8 o'clock Central. It is now 8 o'clock Central on the beautiful Gulf Coast of Mississippi, just outside of New Orleans, and I hope that you are having a wonderful day. I hope that you are well, and I pray that God's greatest blessings are upon your life today. I apologize for no class Tuesday night, but you know that Professor Toto has a twin brother named Pastor Vaughn, and that sucker had a holy religious service he had to preach at Tuesday night, and that just messed the conservative college all up. But that's where we were. We were celebrating Yom Teruah, or the Day of Shouting, or the Feast of Trumpets. And we had a marvelous time, had a full house. It was wonderful. But indeed, we miss being here behind the, well, not the quite the golden microphone, but we miss being here. Tonight is jam-packed. There is so much that we're going to talk about tonight. And I just thank you all for being here. Now, if you would like to show some love back right now, how many of you would like to show some love back? All you need to do is hit that like button, that love button, and then hit that share button. Do you know why we want you to do that? Of course, we want more eyeballs, definitely. However, Facebook, YouTube, all of them, Twitter, they notice videos, especially on Rumble, that are getting more responses, and then they feature those videos. I just found out yesterday that Rumble had put one of my videos in one of their top 10 videos, and man, so anyway, that's why we ask you to do that, okay? So go ahead, I'm waiting on you. No, I'm not going any further until... Are you ashamed to let people know that you watch Professor Toto? My. I'm waiting. Hit the little button. Are you ready? And while you're hitting the button, I've got a new song for y'all I want to sing. Are you ready? Where, oh, where is the mugshot? Where, oh, where could it be? A lot like the laptop. It's a great mystery. Oh, where is the mugshot? Hunter's mugshot. Where, oh, where could it be? A lot like the laptop. It's a great, great mystery. Where's the mugshot? Now, I'm not going any further. Do you hit the like button, the love button, the share button? Thank you. Thank you very much. Right on, almost 8,000 of you on Roku tonight. Welcome, Roku. If you don't have our Roku channel, you can find it right now on Roku. Go to streaming channels and search for First Harvest Ministries. And you can watch us on the big screen live, okay? All of my friends on Rumble, good evening, Rumble. Hello, Butterfly, Insilas, and Cosmos Gold, and Sue Shipman, and Gidge, and Lug Nuts, and Gino Young, and Fat Paper Tiger, and Butterfly. Good evening on Rumble. Glad to have you all out there tonight. So good to see you. And then over on Facebook and YouTube, Robert McLeod and Zachary Haney. Hello, Zachary. I'll see you in less than 2 weeks, I hope. Tom Chambers and Mary from Atlanta, Georgia. Hello, hello. Marie says we're not on FHTV tonight. Hello, Sister Kathleen Lawless. Good evening from Minnesota. And she is talking about the title of tonight's class. And she says, everyone is asking me this question. And I said, don't worry, Pastor or Professor. Sister Kathleen, Pastor is my twin brother. This is Professor tonight. Oh, wow. Thank you, Roses Are Red. Thank you so very much, John Dimmers from Jacksonville. Good evening to you, my friend. Hello from St. Charles, Missouri. Hello to Ursula. Brother Kenneth Huff, always good to see you. How many of you are registered for Tabernacles? Right there is the QR code that you need to register right now. We start in less than 2 weeks in beautiful Lake Gunnersville, Alabama. Listen, guys, people are coming from everywhere. You need to be there. Go ahead and register now. It's free of charge. Somebody, Darlene Houston, says, I'm registered. Oh, I can't wait to see you, Sister Darlene. Judy Colson says, I'm registered. Good to see all of you tonight. Wow. Stacy, I wish you could come. Tasha, what is up? What are y'all doing about your shirts? Just tickle me. Well, what is the deal with my shirts? I don't understand. Anyway, hallelujah. Hello, Donna Flood. Good to see you tonight. There's Sister Laura Moran. Hello. Maureen LaQuire from Michigan says, we'll be there. And when they say we'll be there, that's not like normal. We will be there like 2 or 3 people. That's like an entire community, like 30, 40 people. Oh, it's so good to see you. Hello, Roy Stokes. I'm so glad. He said, my wife and I try to watch you every time you are on. Thank you. That means so much to me. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight there is so much talk all over MAGA world. A lot of disappointed people, understandably so, about some comments made by President Trump. Now, in tonight's monologue, if you can see the title of tonight's class, in tonight's monologue, I will deal with these comments by President Trump on abortion. He made some statements that have troubled some of you, but I want to encourage you tonight to wait to my monologue. For those of you that are watching the replay, the monologue normally comes at about 30 minutes into the podcast, okay? So tonight's monologue is all about Trump and abortion. That's what tonight's class is all about. We're going to get to the bottom of this. We're going to give you an answer to be able to tell your negative Nancy's and your friends that are so worried about this thing that President Trump said. So let there be no fear. I believe when I'm done tonight, everyone will understand what is going on, okay? First of all, we have 4 segments on the Toto Show. The first segment is always our victory segment, our good news segment. I always like to start off with good news because everywhere you look, it's bad news. So we have a great victory that I want to report. I'm going to play the video for you, and I believe you're going to rejoice to see how we always win in the end. Never during the temper of the times, but in the end. Watch carefully.
For religious liberty. A town in Idaho, Moscow, Idaho, forced to pay a hefty settlement to a Christian worshiper after arresting him and others for not wearing a mask at an outdoor church service back in 2020.
Some always trust in chariots and others trust in horses, but we recall the Lord our God.
You guys should not be doing this and doing this kind of crap for the mayor. This is embarrassing. You guys are stronger than this. You're more
Shouldn't be doing this.
Your name, sir, please? You guys are tough people.
Joining us now on the heels of his settlement, that Christian churchgoer, Gabriel Wrench. Gabriel, thanks for being here. Just watching that video reminds us how much, we've seemingly lost our minds as a country with these outdoor psalm sing, socially distanced, gets you arrested. Talk to me about your lawsuit, why you did it, and the outcome here.
Yeah, well, every time I see that video, you remember, you look at they had to take the hymn book from me.
Yes.
Handcuff me. Watch them take the handbook right now. It's just, they violated my First Amendment rights in a small town. And I think really what you're seeing in the city of Moscow is kind of a microcosm of what's going on nationwide. City of Moscow is a very liberal city in the midst of a very red state.
Yeah.
And, for the liberals, this might sound like a pejorative, but I really don't think it is. Liberalism is really turning into like a kind of a modern day cult. They use coercion, they want power, and they have no real moral standard that is kind of fixed for them. So their moral standard kind of changes and just over time. So our mayor was breaking social distancing and masking rules. He went and played golf and drank beer with his buddies the day he shut down our town in March 2020. He was officiating open door outside weddings a month before he had me arrested. And so that, just like Gavin and Newsom and Bill de Blasio breaking all their own COVID policies. That's what our city of mayor and the city of Moscow was doing, and still had me arrested. And so being able to protect our First Amendment rights. Go ahead.
Their guiding light is you will comply, ultimately,
right.
with their power and their mandates. Do you believe this is the city admitting they were wrong by paying you?
No, I think this is the city trying to pay off a massive PR problem for them. And so thank you for having me on. And I've been on other shows. I've been very grateful. And because they have not reached out to me, they have, in fact, they've canceled meetings with me. And so they don't really want to talk, and they don't really want to have real conversations. But that's just liberalism 2.0 and cancel culture. For sure.
Well, you did. It was a win. You stood up. You stood up then. You're continuing to stand up today. It feels like a scenario for a lot of people where it's fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. And may we never get to a point where we comply with things like that. And you didn't in that moment. And you're shown to be right in retrospect. Gabriel Wrench, thank you for standing up.
Yeah, I'm very grateful that I was able to win. I mean, in this nation,
Go ahead.
Thank you for having me.
Well,
I was going to say I'm very grateful that I got a victory. How many people nationwide didn't get a victory? I did.
Exactly right.
So very
That's
grateful
exactly right.
during COVID.
You stood up for a lot of people. Appreciate it, Gabriel. God bless.
In the land of America, you don't fool with worshipers. You just don't. You do not fool with worshipers. And, when they arrested this man, they were gathered together singing hymns. They were just being a light of the gospel. The man is arrested, taken away for expressing his right of freedom of religion to worship. And so, it looked dark when that happened. And a lot of people were like, how could this happen? And the voice of steadiness was somewhere in your ear telling you these words. Are you ready? We always win in the end. Okay? So that's a great victory. Another victory that I want to report to you tonight, and wait till we get to the I told you so segment. I have 6 big I told you so's tonight. 6, not 1, not 2, 6. It's going to be so good. Anyway, this is a huge victory, what I'm about to show you. How many of you remember 3 years ago, Donald Trump was toast? On mainstream media, it was said how many times? He will never, ever go back to the White House. Anybody ever remember listening to, it was like a funeral for Donald Trump? It's over. It is done. The coffin has been put in the ground. Over and over, the mainstream media they said he would never even get in the primary, much less win it. And then when he finally got in, they said, well, he will never win the general election. I'd like for you to listen now to mainstream media giving their acquiescence to the fact that Trump may very well be retired.
If he gets elected president, he's going to just start indicting Democrats for no reason. Susan, I don't want to catastrophize.
You better believe he is.
Always telling people they need to stay calm. I do think, though, based upon reading your book and looking at what Donald Trump has been saying since 2021, it looks like 4 more years of him could be constitutionally devastating.
Yet now they admit it's possible. It's coming.
He's talking about just going out and arresting people for no reason. He's talking about terminating the Constitution.
Terminate, as in terminate the Constitution. The other thing is retribution and revenge. And, there's a lot of talk from Republicans on Capitol Hill about weaponizing the government. That essentially is Donald Trump's approach to the White House, which is the idea that it would become a personal instrument of retribution. Imagine he truly sees no division between his own kind of strongman aspirations and those for the country.
We should take Donald Trump at his word now when he says things like we just heard him say about
You definitely should.
prosecuting his opponents, because there was a sense, I think, when he was running last time that, well, he may be elected, but all of our institutions will hold and people will put guardrails around him. As Peter just said, those people aren't going to be there next time.
Nope, they're not. The swamp, your little swamp net's not going to be there. Y'all are getting it, guys. You've been watching Toto, evidently. You're getting it. Good boys and girls. Somebody send them 5 gold stars.
Imagine Donald Trump without the guardrails. And I think that it's really
I do every day. Every day I imagine Donald Trump without the old guard dogs like Bill Barr and John Bolton and all the dummy crats around. Yeah, we do, darling. We fantasize about it.
really a much more radical prospect than the first term.
I believe it, y'all are getting it, much more radical second term than the first term. Are these people admitting there's now a possibility of a second term? Oh, we knew it the whole time, ladies and gentlemen. We knew exactly when it would happen. I told you the lion will roar in 24. Speaking of lion roaring in 24, have you ordered your Roar 24 merchandise? There's your little QR code. Get your little phone deal and put it up there and squeeze the camera button, take your little picture and get over there to, get on over yonder and get you some Roar 24 merchandise, guys. You can't find it nowhere else on the internet. Nowhere on the interweb or the internet. You can't find it nowhere else but right there, okay? So yeah, they understand what time it is. And we were right all along, and they were wrong all along. More good news. We're still in the victory section or the segment of the Conservative College. We've got more victories. Hang tight. The Oil and Gas Association, based in Midland, Texas, 47,000 members nationwide. Ron DeSantis went to speak to the Oil and Gas Workers Association, and the day that he landed to speak to them, they endorsed Donald John Trump while DeSantis was on the ground to get their vote. They endorsed Donald Trump. So to the Gas Workers Association, thank you for standing up for America. Now that's the end of our victory section. Now you know what time it is. All you little boys and girls gather around. It is time to cross over. It's time to get your passports, beloved. It's time to take a trip on the yellow brick road.
What's happening?
That's what I'd like to know, because here you are, Mr. Resident, in Brazil, representing the greatest nation on earth. And we just thought we would drop in because that's where the yellow brick road is bringing us tonight. And we'd let all of your citizens see how they are in such capable hands.
President of the United States and the President of the Federated Republic of Brazil, accompanied by the Director General of the International Labor Organization.
Thank you. Well, first of all, I would like to greet President Biden and to say to President Biden, can you hear me, President Biden? This is a historical moment for Brazil and for the U.S. President Biden, can you hear me? You can? Yes, good.
That's the land of Oz, folks. That's where we find ourselves, in the land of Oz. So there is your great esteemed leader bumping into flags, forgetting to shake hands with world leaders, and that other world leader from Brazil just went, he shook his hand like, who is this guy? But it gets even better. Let's stay in Oz for a few moments, and let me bring you to a man by the name of Merrick Garland. And you're going to listen to Merrick Garland in the land of Oz admit to you that David Wise did not have full authority in the Hunter Biden investigation. You're going to hear him say in one sentence that he had full authority, and then in the next sentence, you're going to hear something else.
Himself, quote, Mr. Weiss has full authority to bring cases in other jurisdictions if he feels it's necessary. That was your response, Attorney General, to Senator Grassley's question on March 1st, 2023. You just referenced it when Mr. Bishop was questioning you. Only problem is he'd already been turned down by the U.S. Attorney in the District of Columbia, Mr. Graves. So he didn't have full authority, did he?
I had an extended conversation with Senator Grassley at the time. We briefly touched on the Section 515 question and how that process went. I've never been suggested.
My point's real simple, Mr. Garland. You said he had complete authority, but he'd already been turned down. He wanted to bring an action in the District of Columbia, and the U.S. Attorney there said, no, you can't. And then you go tell the United States Senate under oath that he has complete authority.
I'm going to say again that no one had the authority to turn him down. They could refuse to partner with him. They could not.
You can use whatever language. Refuse to partner is turning down.
No one could turn him down, but they could refuse to partner with him. I mean, somebody help me. And only in the land of Oz, he had full authority. No one could turn him down, but they could refuse to partner with him. Whoo, Lord. Over here, monkeys fly in the land of Oz. Let me show you something even crazier in the land of Oz, ladies and gentlemen. Watch carefully.
Look, I'm allowed to wear a hat. I mean, I can express myself how I want.
This is not expression. This is hate speech. This is every kind of misogyny, homophobia, racism, bigotry, Islamophobia. I can go on and on.
The second these diners catch wind of what's happening.
Until you take that hat off, you will not be served.
I'm not taking it off.
Well, then you will not be served in this restaurant.
They're shocked and angry.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. He just said that.
You've got to be kidding me.
We should all get up and leave.
And they act quickly.
Should all get up and leave. I'm leaving.
Come on, let's go. We're out.
He told him.
Yep, he will not serve him.
He just told me.
Let's go. Come on. I would never stay here. That's it. You're making him leave? You won't serve him?
We won't serve him while he's wearing a hat that represents those.
Represents what?
Represents.
Make America.
I'm ready to go back to Kansas. Folks, that's really happening. Do y'all know that's happening in a town near you? Do you know that that is a reality, what I just showed you? That is what people think MAGA represents. Islamophobia, racism, LGBTQ, and all the alphabets isms. I mean, that's what they think. And this man was not allowed to eat in a restaurant. Freedom of religion, freedom of speech, if we do not save it now. Now, the reason I want you to see all these videos tonight, I'm doing this on purpose. Because when I get to my monologue to talk to you about what Trump said about abortions, I want you to keep in mind that there is some issues in this nation that are just as important, and you don't need to forget all those other issues while you're stuck on one issue. You need to see what's happening in your world and know that there is only one man right now that can turn this nation back. So keep all that in mind. Let's move out of Kansas. Oz. Let's go back to Kansas and let's do some quick I told you so's. To sing you a little song. The old country song goes sort of like this. 3, 2, 1. I told you so. I told you so. I told you so.
I told you so.
Told you so. Hot diggity dog. I told you so. I told. What did I tell you so about the 14th Amendment, Section 3? Oh, you know, 3 weeks ago, it was all the talk, right? Every channel, every news channel, they were salivating over it. And some of you believed it. You were worried about it, and rightfully so. I can understand that. But the reason that the 14th Amendment talk and conjecture was going rapid is because it was not just the Democrats that were proposing this idea, but some very influential legal scholars on the Republican side they wrote an article about it. They were literally endorsing this idea. And these great scholars, now Professor Toto is no great scholar. Far be it from me. I'm just your humble, neighborhood, friendly, fluffy professor. However, it was Fluffy that told you 3 weeks ago when all these people were saying legally what could be done. I told you it could never be done. And then I told you why. But far be it from me for you to take my word for it. Let's go and read what happened to a lawyer, a very influential legal scholar that was pushing this idea. Well, the New York Times is reporting that he's had an about face on the 14th Amendment. I'll say, a little more than a month ago, a law professor who helped found the Federalist Society, the conservative legal group, enthusiastically endorsed a new law review arguing that Donald Trump was ineligible to be president. The article was a tour de force, the professor Stephen G. Calabresi told me. It demonstrated that Trump was subject to a provision of the Constitution that bars some officials who have engaged in insurrection from holding government office. Here is the words of this smart attorney. Trump is ineligible to be on the ballot, and each of the 50 state secretaries has an obligation to print ballots without his name on them. Now, last week, are you ready? Last week, in an extraordinary about-face, the professor changed his mind. Yeah, the professor changed his mind. Maybe he saw Professor Toto. Who knows? In a letter to the Wall Street Journal, he said he had been persuaded by an opinion article in that newspaper that Section 3 did not apply to Trump. In that article, Michael B. Mukasey, who was the Attorney General under George Bush, focused on part of the provision that limits its scope. I need everyone to please watch carefully and tell me if this is not the very words that your humble professor told you did not apply to Trump. Please tell me these words here. Michael Mukasey said that as a member of Congress or an officer of the United States, and he goes on, the only category that even arguably applies to Trump is an officer of the United States. Mukasey wrote, refers only to appointed officials and not elected officials. Would y'all please allow me to do an encore? I told you so. Oh, I told you so. Was it not that exact line that your fluffy professor showed you? Does anybody remember that class? Let me look at the chat. I've not looked all night because I get distracted. Do I have any students that remembers me telling you why it would not apply to Trump, even though these legal scholars were saying that it does? Anybody? Roses are red. You got it? Ruth Rosario, Sister Brody, you got it? All right. Come on, folks. Talk to me. Wake up out there. Teresa, Elizabeth Brody, Judy Colson, Mary Griffin, Don Myers, on and on and on and on and on and on and on. All right. I'm sorry. I just earned those bragging rights. Amen. That was the very words that I told you would not apply to President Donald Trump. Okay? None. And now these legal scholars are dropping the issue. All right, so there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. You can feel safe in the conservative college. We don't send you into rabbit holes. We don't talk about laser beams from outer space. No, no, no. We talk about what matters, and that's the verifiable truth. All right. We have another, number 2, I told you so. A number 2, I told you so. Here we go. And I love this one for all my New York folks. Anybody from New York out there tonight? Anybody from New York? There is a lawsuit in New York against the no excuse absentee voting law. According to this lawsuit, it violates the Constitution. Let me show you right here what Professor Toto has taught you for 3 years. I told you why the 2020 election was frogged. Ribbit, ribbit, ribbit. And I told you it was because of the laws of mail-in voting. Well, in New York, their top legal document, absentee voting or mail-in ballots, is strictly reserved for qualified voters who may be, number 1, absent from the country, all right? Number 2, unable to appear because of what? Illness or physical disability. Qualified voters must vote by mail rather than in person if they satisfy those exceptions. I told you for the last 3 years, the reason the mail-in ballots were illegal, those exceptions were ignored. Secretaries of State broke the law when they sent out these ballots and told everybody to say that they were indefinitely confined. So that is another I told you so. Congratulations, New York. Now we've got another big I told you so. Did anybody see my video in the last class where I talked about the president's vice president who I believe he would choose or should choose? Of course, it was Christy Name from South Dakota. And by the way, let me stop there for a minute. I wasn't planning on this. There is a hit piece out about Christy Name now, saying that she had an affair on her husband. And people just believe this stuff. They just accept it. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if she did or didn't, but I am waiting for her side of the story. But after I told you that Christy Names should be vice president, then and look, a lot of people saying, I don't want a woman president. I get that. I totally get that. However, it is inevitable. It is coming on the Democrat or the Republican side. So it is what it is. But let me show you. I told you in that video that Kari Lake should run for the United States Senate, not the vice presidency. And lo and behold, Politico put out a report today that Kari Lake is to launch her Arizona Senate bid next month. Once again, never mind. Never mind. Anyway, once again. So there you go. Another, I told you so. Number 4, I told you so. Kenneth Paxton in the state of Texas. I told you last Tuesday night when my whole show was pretty much about Ken, I told you that he would be returned immediately to the Attorney General's office, and then he would turn around and start kicking behind. Ladies and gentlemen, he was found not guilty. He is the Attorney General, and that was another huge I told you so. Number 5, I told you so. Are you ready? I did a show about, 3 or 4 months ago on James O'Keefe with Project Veritas, and I made a prediction, and I told you, I said I give Project Veritas 6 months before they totally go out of business. They announced today that they are in financial ruin and they are closing their doors as of yesterday. Project Veritas is out of business. So there you go. All right, that's number 5. I got one more I told you so. One more, I told you so. And I don't want to, I'm really not, because I know somebody will probably send this to him and then he'll chew me out like he did, Michelle, what's a shame? Michelle Ames, what a shame. Michelle, what's a shame? That Project Veritas closed? You must have misunderstood me. Okay, so, hey, Kenny Burton, good to see you tonight, brother. Project Veritas has bitten the dust. Oh, Michelle was probably being sarcastic. Okay, never mind. I know Michelle's personality. All right, I can see you sitting there saying, what a shame. She liked Project Veritas. Well, I did too, but I didn't like what they did to James O'Keefe. And the chickens came home to roost. So anyway, all right. Now this is one that I'm not going to brag about it because it really breaks my heart. About a year and a half ago, I had the privilege of speaking in South Carolina at a Patriot event. And there was another speaker there by the name of Lynn Wood. And Gespo Valentino. He wants to know, when is the retreat for the Feast of Tabernacles? Starts October the 4th through October the 8th. And right there, Mr. Valentino, is the QR code. Look at the top of your screen. Take your phone camera and take a picture of that, and you can register still. There's no charge to register for the Feast of Tabernacles. We start in about 2 weeks. Oh, so excited. It's going to be marvelous. But anyway, I was at a meeting with Lynn Wood, and what I'm about to say is not personal, and please don't get mad at me if you like or don't like or whatever, because I don't care. But I always had reservations about this individual, and I had reservations whenever he went to Georgia and convinced so many patriots not to vote. And that's why George Warnock is the senator today. If you'll remember, it was Kelly Loeffler that ran against him. I didn't like that. I came on there the next day and begged y'all to go vote. And then I wasn't crazy about what happened with Kyle Rittenhouse. You know, Mr. Wood raised $2 million for legal defense. And I didn't like how all that went down, but I never said nothing because I'm not on here to bash, and I'm not doing it now. But I just want you to know that we found out today that, in fact, Lynn Wood has now become a witness against Donald Trump in Atlanta, Georgia. So he is actually listed as the defense witness. Virtuous Woman says that Lynn Wood has denied this. Oh, maybe she's talking about Rittenhouse. I don't hold that against him. That may or may not be true, so I'm not going there. But thank you, Virtuous Woman, because I never want to slander anyone. I never want to give false information, but I just said I didn't like how all that went down, but Lynn may be perfectly innocent. But as of today, he is now a witness against President Trump in Atlanta, Georgia. So I'm just making y'all aware of that. That way you can know. You can know. All right. So, and you know, we have a lot of people that say, I just don't want to get involved in politics. I'm just going to pray. I don't believe Christians should get involved in politics. I want to show you what happens when you do not get involved in politics. He does. Okay? When you don't get involved, Uncle Ledbetter does. That's Uncle Ledbetter. He gets involved. And he has so much influence that now, as he walks through the sacred halls of the United States Senate, degrading it with his backside of the river appearance, that's what happens when you're too busy to get involved with politics, when you're praying too hard to get involved. When you don't, then Uncle Lester gets involved. All right? Now, he has so much pull that 300 years or 250 years of tradition in the Senate is gone. I want you to look at this man's clothes. Clothes say everything about a person. Clothes sends a message. What is the message that he is sending with these clothes? The message that he is sending is a prophetic parable of how Democrats feel about America. They don't believe there should be any structure, any institutions, any borders, no absolutes, no standards, no respect. And do you know what's really upsetting to me? For those of you that get upset that he's going to the Senate looking like a rag doll, those very people condemn us at our church for encouraging people to dress their best when they come to the institution of the church. Do you see the hypocrisy? Because the way you dress tells everyone your mindset about that situation, that circumstance. When you go to court, you don't walk in looking like a slob. You know better. You respect the institution. There is no respect left in our world anymore. That's why I teach our young people in our church. When you get dressed for church, get dressed on purpose. Know that you're going to the most sacred institution on the planet, the church of the living God. Know that the church is assembling. Well, it's the same thing in the Senate. Isn't that funny? See how some of y'all are disagreeing with me now, but you was all against the way he looks in the Senate. What is more sacred to you, the Senate or the gathering of the royal family of God? I'll let you think further on that subject. So that's what happens when you do not get involved in politics. Other people do. So I encourage you today, get involved. Ladies and gentlemen, the hot news of the day before we get to the monologue is this right here.
Customs and Border Protection is putting a pause on cargo processing at the Bridge of the Americas in El Paso, Texas. It's to free up border officers to help with the processing of the increasing number of migrants who show up at the border. Data from the city of El Paso shows CBP migrant encounters are the highest they've been since May. Texas Sheriff Thaddeus Cleveland is a former Border Patrol officer and says this is not a good sign.
At the ports of entry, you have Office of Field Operations officers, and they're there to make sure legitimate trade and travel passes to and from the United States. So we're taking those people from those ports of entry to help Border Patrol because there's simply not enough Border Patrol agents.
Truckers who use the Bridge of the Americas will instead need to go through other crossing points in New Mexico and Texas. Back in April, officials suspended all commercial operations for 3 days at the Bridge of the Americas for the same reason. The head of a truckers association in Juarez, Mexico, then told Border Report the detours and long lines could cost the industry $10 million a day.
This administration, going back 2 years, was flying migrants to Westchester County Airport, long before southern states were ever moving migrants to New York. This administration was. The southern border has been overrun, and these communities cannot handle it. And so Mayor Adams and Governor Hochul, in their infinite wisdom, and the Democratic politicians in New York and New York City believe that we should be a sanctuary city and sanctuary state. They believe we should not cooperate with ICE or law enforcement officials. And they have used taxpayer funds to provide free housing, free health care, free education, free food, free clothing, with no accountability. And so what happens? We now have had over 100,000 migrants come to New York City in just the last year. They can't handle it. And let's be clear, this is not about being against immigration. I've said many times before, my wife is an immigrant. I've been through this process. It is a fundamentally broken one. But we have to have a process that works.
New York's been pretty compassionate with the migrants so far. We've been paying for $500 a night hotel rooms. We gave them Xboxes, flat screens, cribbage. They don't even play cribbage. We've been doing their laundry for them. We even cooked culturally appropriate food for them after they threw away our PB&Js. And now they're getting free education and free health care. And they're paying no taxes, but for us, we pay the IRS half.
Emily.
Oh, here you go. You got people coming in now. Take a look at this. A lot of young adult men being let through now. ¿De dónde son?
Ghana.
Ghana. You're from Ghana. Okay.
Yeah, I'm from Haiti.
You're from Haiti.
Yeah.
You're from Haiti?
No, hombre, van pasando por la... No, hombre, no hay ni una cuarta parte de lo que viene. ¿Eh? No sé. Es que nosotros vivimos pegado al riel. Pero allá por el puente peatonal de la Plaza de las Culturas. No, hombre, pero se bajó exageradamente un chingo de raza.
Any other nation, they would be calling the military. They would be calling every resource they had to stop an invasion. I don't know if you just saw that, but ladies and gentlemen, look closely at what's happening to our...
Hola, ¿de dónde son? Venezuela. Hola, ¿de dónde son?
Venezuela. Culpa de una dictadura.
would be calling out the military. Any other nation, yesterday alone, 10,000 illegal aliens came into your nation. Stop the invasion. But they're not going to. Do you know why? It's all by design. This, and by the way, there's no better subject in the world for Donald Trump than this right here. However, this is being done by design. You know why? They know Trump's coming back. They know what's going to happen the moment he comes back. But before I show you what Trump said, I want to show you that something that's going to shock you, something that's going to make you go, I knew it. This is what this is all about. Here's a comedian by the name of Louis C.K. on the Joe Rogan show. And here's what this dumbhead had to say about this immigration problem. But listen, he's not strange. He is finally telling you what the Democrats have always believed. Watch.
But my feeling is they should open the border, and just let them pour it, let everybody pour in, and then the answer, which is, well, then there'll be all these problems. Yes, there should be. It shouldn't be so great here, is what I'm saying. In America, it shouldn't be.
Did you hear it? Just wait. I'm fixing to show you that it should not be so great here.
Weird thing to sequester a certain group of people and try to keep upping their lifespan and their lifestyle, and just keep trying to increase that for this group of people, and then everyone's.
Yes, this group of people that was given an inheritance by our forefathers that fought and died to give that to us. Yes, you're right, dummy.
And then this pressure of people trying to come in so they can enjoy it. And then it gets worse and worse down here. I mean, I'm not in Canada. It's really just from down here. There's something wrong with that. That's not a system that's working. And it forces people to do cruel things to other people. There's a lot of people that die so Americans can be safe. They're just dying, weddings that are drone bombed in Yemen because the guy said something that might have resulted in American insecurity. Not even like definite American deaths, but like just so we can breathe a little easier. Folks die. And folks do labor in unsafe places so that we can keep the prices where we like them. There's so much about American life that other people pay for. That's part of it. But also, it's not good for us either. It's not a good way to live in a gated community, If you let folks pour in, like any other wave, it'll kind of slosh. And then things will be different. I don't know, what'll really happen? A bunch of people, will they just come with knives and start killing everybody? I don't think so.
A gated community. America is a gated community. Yes, it's a privileged nation. God shed his grace on thee. He crowned your good with beautiful brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Why? Because we are an end-time Israelite nation. We have the bountiful blessings of Joseph. We are the birthright carriers of Father Abraham through his great-great-grandson Joseph. We have the birthright blessing that promised these blessings to us. But according to Democrats like him, America is nothing special. No wonder they hate Make America Great Again, because they want to make America equal and let everybody absorb this good land to where it's no longer a good land. See, the only reason you want to deter illegal immigration is if you truly believe that foreign nationals or aliens does not have a right to enter the United States simply because they want to. The problem with all of them is they do not believe in the sixth commandment, thou shalt not steal. Socialism throws this commandment away in favor of redistributing the wealth and letting everything balance out. Thou shalt not steal. The Bible sets forth the sanctity of someone's labor. their hard work, and the right of the laborer to retain the fruits of his labor. That is God, that is creation, that is nature. It starts when God labored for 6 days to recreate the heavens and the earth. God owns the earth because why? He labored over it. Don't you understand? He labored and it's his. In America, we have labored. And then what did God do? Yahweh? He created a man to keep up the garden, and he gave that man 90% of the fruit of that garden, and he asked the man to give God 10% as a reward for God's labor in making it all possible. America was changed gradually from a Christian republic to a socialist democracy, beginning in 1933 with the Roosevelt administration. And that core change was in the concept of who is the source of human rights. All of this, what we see today, is the ripening of the fruit from a tree that was planted many years ago. America is special. America is extra. America is God's end-time Israel. If you don't believe me, I dare you. I triple dog dare you to go to fhtv.tv and watch my teaching called Tracking the Tribes. I will track those tribes from the prayers of Jacob all the way to the United States of America. I challenge you, go to fhtv.tv, watch all 7 of that series. You will know why they hate America. For tonight's monologue, my time is quickly gone. Wow, it is gone. Okay, so I'm going to do this quick, all right? Going to do this fast. Before I do, let's take a quick little commercial break. Here's my commercial. Monday night at 8 o'clock, put it in your calendar right now. Monday night, 8 o'clock, I need every one of you that wants to help me change America to click on that QR code and meet me Monday night at 8 o'clock. Okay? I want to talk to you and I want to get you involved in what we're doing. Would you meet me Monday night? You got to register. Go register now and meet me on a Zoom Monday night at 8 o'clock and help me change America. Would you please meet me there? Would you? Would you? Thank you. I'll see you Monday night, 8 o'clock. Abortion. Donald Trump. Abortion. It's a very serious subject. I totally understand why so many of our people are upset about it. Basically, Donald Trump refused to commit to an abortion ban in the United States. And he refused, I believe in that interview, I listened to it, but I believe his exact words were that he would negotiate the exceptions to abortion. And our people lost their mind over that. So I want to help you understand something tonight. Whenever someone tells you anything about Donald Trump and abortions, I want you to remember something. I want you to look at this man one more time, and I want you to remember it was that man right there that is the sole reason that Roe v. Wade died. I don't know if any of you understand, if you doubt Donald Trump's abortion stand, it was this man that God used to miraculously appoint 3 judges that caused the overturn of Roe v. Wade. Let's keep that in mind, okay? Let's get to the big picture. Let's make sure that we get this right, because Donald Trump has more than you do in his mind. Donald Trump is a general that must win a war. He does not have the privilege of catering to your issue. When a general goes to war, he has one thing, the goal in mind. His entire focus must be to reach that goal, to win that war. And he cannot do that if all along the way he stops to cater to you and to me and what we would love to see in America. If it was up to me, we'd outlaw divorces in America. But try to win an election saying you're going to outlaw divorces. Try to win an election in a divided nation. The next election will be with the independents because, first of all, the bases are settled. Now, Donald Trump will go in to a debate with Joe Biden. And if he would have eaten the carrot in that interview, I believe it was Meet the Press, if he would have eaten that carrot, committing to an abortion ban, could anybody tell me what would happen in the first debate with Joe Biden? See, the problem is we don't live in a perfect world. And unfortunately, Donald Trump's got a goal to win the White House. If he doesn't win the White House, and let's say he agreed with no abortions whatsoever, total ban on abortion, he'll never get to the White House. Folks, there's some things that are just common sense. Do I want abortion in America? You know better. But I also realize there's other issues that is vastly important in this nation. And if we cannot get it all, then let's get as much as we can with the very man that overturned Roe v. Wade. Some of us are so simple and small-minded that it's all or nothing for us on this issue. Donald Trump does not have that privilege. Donald Trump knows that if he would have taken the bait, the first debate with Joe Biden, you have all these independent women watching that debate. They don't like Joe Biden. Nobody does. And then all of a sudden they show the video clip. Donald Trump is going to make a ban on abortion, or he's going to, after 6 weeks, what would have happened? Do you think Donald Trump's going to give them that? Oh, but I know what you want. What I want is Trump to win the White House. Because he's got a track record of what he's going to do about abortion. I saw it in the last term. We have to understand, Diane, you're right. Diane Ezel is right. If we don't get Trump in 24, our country is gone. So you have to decide if you're going to sit there and pout and be mad because what you would love to see happen, I would love for them to go pass a law that, men can't drink alcohol no more. There'd be no more broken homes. Try to win, try to run on that in a divided nation. Trump is smarter than y'all give him credit for. Let the man win the White House. Donald Trump, when she asked him the question, he said, in order to win in 2024, Republicans must learn how to properly talk about abortion. He is so right. In a perfect world, he would be so wrong. But in our world, he's so right. You saw what happened in 2022 with this strict no abortion policy. It won't work. And I'll tell you why in just a moment. He's not running for pastor. He is running for president. Let me give you an example. Kentucky Attorney General Daniel Cameron. He ran for the governor's seat in Kentucky with a no exception pro-life platform. Great. I believe in that platform. I love that platform. I could never run for office on that platform. Why? Because there's such a thing called reality, politics. And Donald Trump is going to play this game with them. He's not giving up the White House to make one segment of his base completely happy. And we should not expect him to. So anyway, Daniel Cameron, no exceptions. His political opponents put him up as a radical. They released a video ad that showed a childhood rape survivor, 12 years old. They put this video up in Kentucky. The child looked directly in the camera and addressed Mr. Cameron, telling him to tell a 12-year-old girl she must have the baby of her stepfather who raped her. Of course, he lost. You always lose with a radical platform. No matter how right it is, you must learn how to word it. You must learn how to navigate. Well, I would never, I'm not a liar. That's why you can't run for office. I'm sorry. It's not what you say, it is how you say it. And Donald Trump refused to let them make him say what they're dying for him to say. And then he's got us over here screaming at him, rah, 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 you better do it. Folks, get the big picture. Let Donald Trump get the White House and let him put you 3 more judges in there, and then his heir put 2 more in there, and let us own the Supreme Court. And then you can get whatever radical agenda passed you won't pass. My friends, I've tried to teach you about America being a ship. We must understand you cannot govern America from the extreme right. You can't do it. Or the extreme left. You have got to find a way to move a divided country forward. And it is very small-minded of us on the far right to think that our candidate can win the White House by catering to everything we want. I would love no abortion in this nation. I would love it, but I understand how this nation works. And I'm so thankful now to have no Roe v. Wade, that now it's left up to the states. The states can do whatever they want to. Let's talk about Iowa. Let's talk about Iowa. Iowa is a prime example. It passed a 6-week abortion ban. Do you know when they passed it? Anybody? 2018. And we were so excited. 6-week abortion ban. Yay, rah, 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 great, wonderful. That was in 2018. The law has still not taken effect. And it's never going to. We live in a divided nation. And the other side don't play fair, but we want our guy to play fair. He didn't answer the way you wanted him to answer. And yet, he overturned Roe v. Wade single-handedly. Years I was trying to get that law. You know where that law is? Tied up in court. And it's going to stay tied up in court. And do you know what Iowa is back to now? A 20-week abortion ban. Why? They went too radical with it. Had they come down to 15 weeks, or maybe 12 weeks, you cannot govern from the extremes. Here's the thing about America. We are increasingly identifying as pro-choice. And when you give no room for exceptions, you only make it more pro-choice. However, most people that I know of that are pro-choice, they do not believe in unlimited abortion. Some of them do. Who? The far left. But people like my family members that are Democrat, they do believe in abortion, but even a woman that's very dear to my heart that's a Democrat says there should be a very strict limit on it. See, that's where we find common ground. They on the far left are saying, kill them all the way up to, they're coming out the canal. Far right, none whatsoever. But the truth is, most Americans don't want abortion. But if it must be, they want limitations on that abortion. 9% of pro-choice voters said that they thought abortion was morally wrong, although they believed it should be legal. Now, there was a poll that came out here. The majority, 51%, favor abortions with restrictions, according to a Gallup poll. Only 19% of voters said that they thought abortion should be legal under all circumstances. See, there's 19% on the far left. Well, on the far right, there's about 19 or 20% said there should be no abortions whatsoever. Both sides are right in their own way of thinking. And yet, it is impossible to win the presidency catering to those 19%. 69% thought abortion should be legal in the first trimester only. 37% said it should be legal in the second trimester. What does that tell me? 69% of this nation believes the first trimester only for abortion. That's the people Trump is trying to reach. Do you see it now? 69% believe first trimester only. That's what Trump said. That's who he's trying to reach. Tudor Dixon, a Republican who ran for governor in Michigan, she lost that seat. And she said she lost it because she did not listen to President Trump's advice. She said President Trump gave her advice on abortion policy, how to talk about it. And she took the far approach to the right. He had told her to talk differently about abortion. She took a no exception approach. And she told President Trump after the election these words, "You were absolutely right. I would have won if I would have learned how to talk about abortion." Now, y'all have got to allow this man to win the White House and know that he cannot win it just catering to us. I know you don't like to hear that. I don't like to say that. But somebody's got to tell you the truth. The day will come, I give you my word, when there will be no more abortions in this world. There's a man coming from the sapphire seals of heaven. His name is Yeshua, Jesus. He is coming to establish a government on earth so very soon he'll be here. Every abortion clinic will shut down in a moment. That will be a perfect day, the seventh day, the 7,000th year. That will be a perfect world. Sadly, we don't live there yet. In the meantime, we know that if Biden wins, what would happen to abortions and the Supreme Court, who he could appoint. I call on you tonight, patriots. Control your emotions. Realize you're not in a battle, you're in a war. Battles can be lost. Wars we can't afford to lose. I encourage you tonight. Don't get caught up in the emotions of these things. Sit back and watch President Trump outfox his enemies. Thank you for watching me tonight. I pray that I've said something that has helped you a little bit. If not, I'll try again next Tuesday night at 8 o'clock Central. Don't forget to meet me Monday night and help me to change America. Thank you very much for watching. We love you. May God bless you and keep you, is my prayer.
If tomorrow all the things were gone I worked for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife, I'd thank my lucky stars to be living here today.
'Cause this flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away.
Defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land.
God bless the USA.
From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea,
From Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA,
where there's pride in every American heart.
Sorry to interrupt this program. I was fixing to leave, and I saw this statement from Leanne May wanting me to correct my statement on Lynn Wood. Let me clarify my statement. I have nothing against Mr. Wood. I told you some reservations I had, and I told you the news that he, according to the news, is scheduled to testify on behalf of the defense, of the prosecutor, I'm sorry. If I'm wrong about that, then absolutely I will correct my statement. But I need for someone to show me how I'm wrong about that. If somebody wants to do it now, I'll be happy to correct it. Leanne, is there something you know that I don't know? If there is, then I stand ready to correct it. But I'm reading the news. It's on the Gateway Pundit. I looked at it earlier. So if that is bad reporting, then I will apologize, but I need someone to prove it to me. I need someone to tell me. All right. So anyway, I just wanted to correct that. That way, I'm looking at the chat, no response. So I don't know if anybody has any evidence that that is not a true statement. I will publicly correct it on Tuesday night. Okay. Let's try this again. Bye, everybody.
If tomorrow all the things were gone I worked for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife, I'd thank my lucky stars to be living here today.
'Cause this flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away.
Defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land.
God bless
Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea.
From Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA,
where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me, and I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't